G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to Mags TV. So it's been a pretty massive PAX for Linksys this year. First they sign a 3-year deal to be the official networking partner for PAX Australia, but then they also choose to use PAX Australia as the launch platform for the new WRT32X gaming router. So Dead Meat and I had a chance to sit down with Vince LaDuca, the global product manager for Linksys, to discuss the features of this new gaming router and to get a little insight into how it actually works. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to the 2017 Mags TV coverage of PAX 2017. This is Dead Meat here, and we're here with Linksys. Can I get you to introduce yourself and tell us what product we're going to be talking about today?
Sure, my name is Vince LaDuca. I'm the global product manager for Linksys, responsible for the WRT line and gaming products.
Thank you very much. Well, firstly, can you just give us a brief overview of the WRT32X that we're going to be talking about today?
At the show here at PAX Australia, we are actually launching the WRT32X here, and it is what we're calling it the first true gaming router because of what we've done in actually making sure that we've built a product that actually really serves that online gaming community and doing it in the proper ways.
Okay. So the first thing you mentioned there, that you've built a product that's specifically designed for gamers. Now, there are a lot of gaming routers out there, but it's generally all show and no real substance. Right. There's nothing real. Is there something that's different about your implementation?
Yeah, and I think you hit the head on the nail there. That what we found out and doing research and wanting to take the WRT line and evolve it into the gaming space, knowing that we had enterprise grade hardware in this router. But it's all about what you do with the software, and we're looking around. We're finding that our competitors were just taking the same networking stack that they created for the consumer and the connected family, and basically throwing it into a box, changing maybe the color of the antennas, or maybe changing the color of the LEDs, and saying, here's your gaming router. But Linksys is a technology-driven company. We wanted to provide true solutions, and so I set forth the research to find out, well, who is really doing networking right for online gameplay, and that really, in my competitor sense, there wasn't. But what I did find was this networking technology in a number of the high-end PC manufacturers, from Alienware, MSI, Gigabyte, Razer, and what I found was this killer networking. And so I was like, wow, what's going on here? So I started to do a little more homework and find out that they really were doing an amazing job at the packet level, managing the bandwidth within those gaming PCs. So and it was getting accolades for what they were able to do inside the box. And you saw these brands basically embracing it and actually promoting it because of the importance of the network. Because you can have the most expensive gaming PC in the world, but it all comes down to that internet connection, to how well that online gameplay was gonna go down. And so me in reaching out to them, we found out that they were actually looking for a router partner to put out to basically have this true end-to-end solution, so that what is happening on that gaming PC, and the technology that the killer networking guys were doing there gets communicated to the router. So now we've got this communication, so you get a lot more intelligence of what's going on in that gaming PC, between the gaming packets, the video traffic, the voice traffic, all the way down to when a download happens or whatnot. So a lot of the packet identification that was going on there, that does go on there now, when it comes to the router, is respected, and all that prioritization is maintained, so that what is happening inside the rest of the network then is managed accordingly. So that activity, the online gameplay of the gaming PC, is always maintained at the highest levels. But it's not an either or. The video traffic is also down there at a priority 3. So it goes, gaming is number 1, always. Voice 2, because you need to chat with your squad. 3 is the video traffic, and then down the line from there. And so it's not an either or, because it can identify the packets. Gaming packets, small, move them fast. Video traffic, larger packet loads, we need to buffer those up, it's okay, and then we can have those and preserve the bandwidth so that the video traffic stays as smooth as possible. But then when that nasty Windows download pops up, it shoves that at the lowest priority, so that even when the Windows update happens, it's not impacting maybe one of the streaming boxes that's also connected to the network.
So just on the Windows Update thing. Now, early on with Windows 10, there was a lot of problems where Windows 10 would soak up every last ounce of your bandwidth and then some, and didn't have any way to throttle it. In the business sector, we had group policy settings that you could apply to the older versions of Windows Update that would throttle that traffic. However, that didn't work with the early on with Windows 10 because they hadn't updated the group policy to enable us to throttle that. How does the WRT32X, how does that actually handle that?
We're able to identify those packet types, and so when it sees that update coming, or because it's talking to that endpoint, or it's what's happening, it's able to push that to that level 6 priority and actually suppress that download. It's still going to happen, but it can basically push that down automatically using what we're calling the killer prioritization engine that we've put into the router, so that it sees that, it's tagged accordingly, it gets to the router, and then it's held back so that all the rest of the activities in the network are preserved. And again, it's all about that packet detection and the pattern detection that goes on to be able to intelligently manage the bandwidth.
Now, you mentioned the killer prioritization engine. What about people that don't have a killer NIC in their machine? How is this router going to work for them? Is it going to help them, or is it just going to be another router for them?
We're able to again do stuff with them as well, and it's not just a killer or non-killer, because we did include manual device-based prioritization. If you wanted to take a machine, say you had that old PC in the closet that is your BitTorrent machine, you can have that and take that whole device and deprioritize it and making sure that it will never impact. And it basically, through that manual prioritization, you can shove devices into any of those 6 priority lanes, or actually, through the lower priority lanes to make sure that is, if it's not a killer machine. But I'll just say, as we move through this is just the first step. We're actually doing more and more work with the guys over that are doing the killer networking stuff to even make things even better and include more things into the mix. I'll kind of leave it right there, but there is the growth in console and the massive growth in mobile gaming right now as well. So we're taking a look at that to see what we can do to help those people. But right now, it's all about the killer because of what that amazing technology is able to do.
Yeah. So essentially, it will help people that don't have killer networking equipment. However, people with killer networking equipment will, like say, killer NICs, and do Killer make wireless cards as well? I'm familiar with their NICs, but not their other products.
Yeah, they make the E2500 Ethernet now. Is got a large majority of the gaming PCs now. Not only the high end, but the mid range. But they also make the killer 1535 Wi-Fi, which is a 2x2 AC Wi-Fi, and it's usually you'll find both. And they're doing some amazing things on the gaming PC to where they're actually leveraging both with their custom networking stack that they've created on the PC side to be able to manage bandwidth between that Ethernet connection on the E2500 and then through their Wi-Fi connection. So they're doing some really interesting things there that we're able to capture on our side of the router and have this really cool wired or Wi-Fi, because what we're doing with the killer prioritization engine is down, lower in the stack, so it doesn't matter how you're connected, or both, because they're actually doing some interesting things with aggregation between those two, wired and Wi-Fi.
Now, just off the killer side of things, but more to the WRT side of things. Now, traditionally, the WRT routers have been known as being very, very friendly to open source firmware. Mm-hmm. Now, in the recent years, you released a new version of the WRT router that was, instead of the cheap, affordable, highly accessible piece of hardware, it was a lot more expensive and a lot less accessible for the open source community. However, how is this new version, how is that going to be fitting in with that open source community, the open WRT community? Are you going to be specifically catering to those guys as well this time round?
We actually have with the WRT 1900 AC, which was our first, in a sense, rebirth of the WRT brand once Linksys was acquired by Belkin. And we wanted to evolve that WRT brand and bring it forth and still preserve that open source value proposition that had continued sales of the original WRT54G for 15 years, actually still sell that product today. It's just amazing.
Wow.
Because of, again, the open source capabilities that can basically, breathe new life into this router. Every year it's the router, for the first 4 years, and then it turns into an AP, and then it turns into something else because of open source. So we clearly identified that when we brought WRT back. And so it's been, again, working with that open source community. Linksys doesn't do the open source code. That's something that the chipset manufacturers provide. We basically, work as that middleman between the two. So, we have to pull on that lever and say, hey, in the case of the WRT, we're using Marvell chipsets. So, hey, we're doing saying Marvell, you gotta make the open source drops and get those out to the community, because that's part of what WRT is. You want to be a part of this. This is what you got to do. And so early on, there was the core CPU support. I think there was just in the beginning they did the Wi-Fi blobs because of all this advanced technology that they're investing in AC and all the stuff that they're doing there. So we had to work with them to figure out a way to get through that. And so I think it was only past it was in the first year of the WRT 1900 AC, we got them to put out the Wi-Fi drivers. And so I think right now we're on an amazing state when it comes to the WRT 1900 ACS. I think is what the current model that we're shipping here in Australia. If you go to OpenWRT today, you'll see full source code. You'll see all the support for that product readily available. And you'll see a number of pre-built images up there, because again, I work really closely with some of the maintainers over at OpenWRT to make sure that stuff is there. And DDWRT is also working on the lead project is also on the WRT 1900 AC. So there is today robust support on the open source side of things when it comes to the WRT. Now, as it comes to the WRT32X, we're also going to ensure that there is a full support to that. I just had some conversations this morning, actually on the topic with some of the folks over there that are managing that and ensuring that we do get that out. But I mean, we built that custom networking stack for this product, and with the technology from Rivet, the guys that do the killer networking stuff. So there is some proprietary stuff in there because of what we're trying to do with the WRT. In a sense of, unlike yourself, most gamers that we know in our research are not network engineers, so we want to handle everything we can, and so that requires some proprietary code that we have to put in there to be able to do this for these for that online gaming community, because they want to just, with it becoming such a competitive thing, they want to just concentrate on gameplay, leveling up and refining their gameplay.
Well, on that topic, being obviously, as you mentioned, I'm a network engineer, but most gamers aren't. Mm-hmm. How are you handling the interface, the GUI, for them to actually be able to set up the router, manage it, connect to their internet connection? How have you got that set up?
It's something that was, I would say, probably the most difficult part about building this product is developing that user experience in the UI and how that user interfaces with this product. Because you can throw almost like the vanilla OpenWRT type interface that has every bell and whistle in the world in there, but that would just put them over the edge, because it's like, wow, so we did our research. We did a lot of work in the amazing UX team that we have at Linksys to really go out there, talk to a lot of gamers, interviews, and do the research to find out what are the key things that they need, and what do they need quickly versus what are they as something that maybe we don't need to put in there right out, because it's all in the code base. It's just what you bring out to the surface. And so we really worked very hard to ensure that we had a really intelligent, really understandable and clean UI to this product. And I think we succeeded from the reviews of the releases in other parts of the world that have been out there. That's one of the main things that the people are citing, is how clean and elegant the UI is. And not only that, we put an amazing setup wizard for the gamers out there that basically just takes them, handholds them through the setup on how they do it. And it actually is a built on a responsive design. So you can do the setup on a mobile, tablet, or desktop, and the interface is going to morph and change to however it needs to do for whatever platform you wanted to set it up on, or use to set it up.
So basically, you're making my job easy.
That's right.
Now, you're talking about the internet connections and getting it set up. With the current NBN in Australia, there's a a range of technologies they're using to connect to the internet. You've got your fiber to the node, which is based on VDSL. You've got fiber to the premises, which is Ethernet. Then you've also got fixed wireless, which I believe is also an Ethernet connection. I haven't actually seen one of those installed properly in the daylight. How are you handling, say, the fiber to the node connections with the VDSL?
Because of such the fluidity in how these connections are being deployed, we wanted to make sure that the routing capabilities and the bandwidth management in the home at the router level was as best it can be, because of how, as I mentioned, how fluid it is on how things are connect. What we're seeing is that that those deployments might have that modem as part of it, or a modem router as part of it. So what we're recommending is that if you do have a sense fiber to a node and then the VDSL in, then put that thing in the dumbest bridge mode as possible and let the WRT handle all of that other stuff. If you have fiber to the home where it's an Ethernet drop in there, this is again enterprise grade. We're using a discrete chipset in here that is basically based on our high-end switch line, so we're able to get full line rate in and out through this product, so that we can handle a full get that drop into the home, that is the fiber coming to home, as we've seen in like some of the other parts of Asia where the WRT is really shining because it can really handle all of that. So again, there is no modem capability on it because again, so much of that variability and fluidity in what's going on, especially here in Australia. So however it's going, you'll set it up as a bridge, or again if it's direct connect, and then bring it in and then have that router handle all the rest of the business.
Just for me to geek out a little bit, what is the packet throughput on this router? What is the peak packet routing throughput?
Let me get back to you on that one. I'll have to go and get my network engineers on there because I'm not the network engineer.
Not a problem. Now, I think that's about all I wanted to cover today. So have you got any final words before we finish this up?
No, I'd say it's, again, I really appreciate you coming out and talking to us about the WRT32X here, and again, getting the word on what we're able to really better that online gameplay for all those online gamers out there.
And just for the last point, where is this device going to be available, and when is it going to be released?
You can actually pick it up right now downstairs on the floor at Harvey Norman's.